Yo, this message is for the people that keep on saying vote, 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 vote. Shut up. Because not once did you tell these people what they were voting for. Not once did you remind these people of who these candidates were before they became candidates. The type of shit they engaged in when they weren't campaigning, when they weren't worried about job security. You didn't tell people who these candidates actually are. No, the candidates themselves and the internet, because the internet never forgets. The candidates and the internet showed us who these people are. Do these seem like the kind of people, like when they say they support universal health care, racial equality, gender equality, immigration reform, police reform? Do you believe that? Because these issues have been issues for generations. And every politician that shows up says the same thing. But not only do they have that in common, the other thing they have in common is the fact that their voting record and their actions as politicians and people in power in general, they never match up with the shit that these people are talking about. And it's like, I know not to be all in my feelings and everything, but you telling me to vote for these pieces of shit is literally an insult to my intelligence. Don't do that, bro. You act like I don't know who these people are. Like people don't know who these people are. You want to go vote, that's fine. But telling me that I'm some kind of operative, or that I'm just some sort of sleazebag, or that I need to shut up because I didn't vote, even though we know how the electoral process goes because we're old enough to know. I just turned 29 the other day. I was not born yesterday. I've participated enough, I've observed enough to know, oh, this is some bullshit. So what's the solution? Well, first off, we need to practice accountability, because that seems to be foreign. I'm not going to say I'm an expert at accountability because I've fallen short at times, but I understand the importance of it. And that's something that I always push for, is to be bold enough to not shy away from holding yourself accountable when you're at fault, when there's a flaw in your logic. I'm not the best, most responsible, but I know for a fact, if Joe Biden tells me who he is, if he shows me who he is, if his record and the lack of continuity between his words and actions, if that shit is revealed to me clearly and in a way that's understandable, and after that I still go vote for him because I go try and convince people that he's a good person, that means there's something wrong with me. Because like I said, all the lies and all the work that he's done, for example, to keep America segregated, the fact that he's a fucking pedophile, a liar, a fucking racist, the fact that he is willing and able to do whatever the big companies want him to do as long as they pay him for it. These are things that I understand about him. So how could I then, in my right mind, go and say, oh yeah, this guy's an honest guy and he's going to do what he says he's going to do? What? No, my impression of Joe Biden is that he's a bigger piece of shit than Donald Trump. And no, I do not fuck with Donald Trump, not one iota. So what does that say about Biden? In my eyes, he's fucking terrible. Trump is just an idiot. But Biden is terrible. And the fact that you motherfuckers want to put these blinders on, not pay attention to who this guy really is, and then harass and insult me and people like me who actually think for a living. You playing yourself. Because if and when, the next cycle comes around, whoever gets in, whoever ends up in office at that point, you're going to find out you voted for shit to stay the same or get worse. That's what you did. You didn't vote to go clean up the oceans. You didn't vote to save the endangered animals. You didn't vote for racial equality. You voted to give Joe Biden and Kamala Harris a job, and that's it. And what's crazy is, I don't even know if we could really call it a job, because the shit that we expect for them to hold true to, they're not going to do it. So they don't have the same set of obligations that a job would have, where you actually have to do what the job says, or you get the fuck out. They don't live by those rules. And you just let them in. Again. So don't insult my intelligence because you didn't want to do the due diligence. You hold yourself accountable for that. Apparently you did zero research whatsoever. So go check out who these people really are. We know who Trump is. We know he's an idiot and a fucking liar. And he is the epitome of white privilege and mediocrity. We know that already. The thing about Democrats and Joe Biden, they're trying to make you think that there's somebody different because maybe they want to talk sweet sometimes. But Joe Biden speaks off the cuff just like Trump does, and he showed us. He's a piece of shit, bro. So yeah, don't insult my intelligence and don't be harassing me and saying that I'm some fucked up individual because I paid attention to who these people are and I chose to avoid them. Completely. That don't got nothing to do with me. I'm in the clear. You know what I mean? As much as can be expected. I didn't put them in there. You did. I didn't put them in there. I paid attention to who Joe Biden is. I paid attention to who Donald Trump is. And I said, you know what? I don't want neither one of them because they don't have nothing that I want. They don't even have the integrity to stick to their word. So they absolutely cannot have my vote. Period, bro. That's the decision that I made. If you want to see that these people are fucked up and ignore that, fine. That's totally fine. That's on you, though. You played yourself. That don't got nothing to do with me, bro. You want to ignore who somebody is, do so at your own risk. But don't be insulting other people just because you too weak to do something different. Besides go along with what some other asshole suggested for you. Well, what's the solution? What's the solution? You want to ask me? The solution is to support small businesses because small businesses cannot afford to play politics. And you know what I mean when I play politics? What I mean when I say play politics is I'm going to give you $10,000 to ignore these people when they say clean up the pollution, to ignore these people when they say stop the police brutality, to ignore these people when they demand immigration reform. I'm going to pay you a bunch of money to ignore that. That's what it means to play politics. So when you go give your money to Amazon, Walmart, Home Depot, etc., that's what you are contributing to. And I understand how difficult it is to try and find shit outside of Walmart, Home Depot, Amazon, because they have everything. And they so very often put a real stranglehold on small businesses. I get it. But that is the solution. Stop giving these people money because the only thing they're going to do is keep the playing field uneven. I don't at all expect to have a $400 million inheritance just because I'm American. But just because someone does have a $400 million inheritance, that should not give them more political leverage than me. That's what I'm saying. And when you give your money to these big businesses, to these people that have all the money already, that's what they do with it. They take your money and they make sure that you don't have shit. So, Again, if you want to ignore that, you do so at your own risk. But don't insult somebody else's intelligence just because they see through the shit and they don't want to play along with it. Eventually, you'll get tired of it, or you'll die before you get tired. It's up to you.